Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening. You're listening to On Deck, presented by Amazing Met Zone. I'm Phil from Shirley with my boys Drew Minotti and Johnny Metz Hype Man Cuso. We got a special guest today, the pride of Shirley, the one and only Cletus, the Hebrew Hammer Seldin. Cletus, how we
What's
doing, brother? How we feeling
um
right now? Cletus, how's the health? How you feeling?
I feel better than I had for the Judah fight, put it that way.
Okay.
So that tells you where we are in the stages of life this right now. So we're in fantastic shape. So in that sense, yes.
Three people in boxing history to appear on HBO in back-to-back months. We got Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., and the one and only Cletus the Hebrew Hammer Seldin. Cletus, how does it feel to be, included with names like that?
Um it never not surprises me. Every time I hear it, I'm always very proud of that accomplishment and what we sacrificed to get to where that is. We fought three fights in 11 weeks, two of them back to back on HBO. And like you mentioned, no one else has ever done that before besides my two favorite fighters ever, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. I started boxing thinking I was going to be Roy Jones. I bought his shoes, I had the tassels and everything. And then I went to a gym in Master and I found out white kids don't box like that. And I learned to be a different fighter.
The crazy story about Cletus, too, people, is that he's not like every other boxer where 99.999% of boxers put the gloves on, I'd say, anytime between the age of 6 or even younger to about 12, 13. You see, guys. Cletus, when was the first time you put boxing gloves on and got in the ring and sparred?
22 years old.
22 years old, getting in the ring for the first time, turning pro, 25, to be named with those people. To me, knowing you my whole life, to me, I'm still blown away by it all the time. Just to see how far you've came, I'm amazed by it, dude.
Hey, I appreciate it. And every time when we get like those leading weeks up to the fight, you get all those messages and you get all those people that have supported you through all these years, and it always touches me some way when I'm either going for a run or by myself in my car, and how thankful I've had the support of not just like friends that I played sports with or people that I just know, but especially you guys. I grew up at Phil Quigg's house, his
My
backyard.
guy.
That
That's my
was the
guy.
place. That was the place to be. No big deal. I was always everybody's first round draft pick.
That's always the case. That's
You
always the
know,
case. First pick.
you know. And if it was, the problem was if you pick me, you get to pick the other guy gets to pick next two. It didn't matter. You
It
know,
didn't matter.
it
It
didn't
never
matter.
mattered. It never
It
mattered.
didn't
One
matter.
thing I wanted to ask you always too, do you think that if MMA was legal in this time in New York, that would have been the route you took? Because to me, growing up, I always remember you wrestling and doing so many other things that I never pictured you standing there with gloves on with somebody in front of you trying to throw punches. That just to me didn't seem like something you were going to do.
Absolutely not. Even in your backyard, you had a speed bag, right? And then you
Mhm.
guys like Anthony Deaconip would start sparring with like John Joe, and I'm like, I'm terrible at this shit. Like I'm not doing any of that. But I would. But my brother came home one day because he did karate, and his karate school was sold, and Frank Perso took over the studio and introduced my brother to what MMA was and these holds and everything. And we were like, I think Cletus could be good at this. So my brother comes home and he's trying all these moves on me, and I just make up some moves and I tap him out. And he's like, "Come down." I was like, "All right, come down," and I try it out. And my brother loves telling the story. First day doing jujitsu, go in there with Frank Perso, the guy who owns the place. They tap him out. Like, all right, So he sold the place after going so long, and I kind of got obsessed with it. This is when like Matt Hughes, UFC started becoming popular. At Tough Enough, I guess was it the UFC
Yep.
show? Was
Ultimate
season
Fighter. Yep.
one,
Ultimate
Ultimate
Fighter.
Fighter,
Yep.
season one. Season one was like, oh wow, this is
Hmm.
freaking awesome. Going to watch parties and stuff like that, uh, and then a couple months go by, and my brother's like, actually, maybe longer, maybe like a year goes by. My brother's like, hey, let's do some sparring. and he puts on his gloves. We have the legs, and he treated me like a child. I was embarrassed. He's like, I remember him like asking me like to do it again. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm good, man. Like, he's just like poking me and kicking me from the side. He knows karate. Like, this is
See, so people
terrible.
don't realize so many crazy things. Like you're honest about that. When we were growing up, you were one of the best at everything, and it didn't matter if it was a little bit of time where in the beginning you weren't the best. I remember we started playing basketball, everybody in the town, and there was like a 2 week stretch where Cletus couldn't dribble the ball. He looked like a fool. After that 2 weeks, he was one of the best players on the court, and that to me, I always was amazed by your just like your competitiveness, and I don't know where it comes from, what it is, but to me, I think you're one of the most competitive people I've ever met in my life. And I like to consider myself a competitive person. Where did that come from, dude? Why are you so competitive?
I think it's because as a child, I hated being embarrassed. The Because I don't know, something I was always embarrassed of how I grew up, where I lived, who my parents were,
Mm-hmm.
the clothes I wore. I was embarrassed. The looking for food, I was embarrassed. I was just always embarrassed. I didn't consider myself as a smart kid or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. I was just so when I was put in a position though of say like not being good at dribbling for
Mm-hmm.
those 2 weeks, I walked to your house and I walked back dribbling the ball through my legs like this.
Yep. Yep.
Boop, 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 boop for 2 weeks. And then I got LJ involved in it.
Yep.
And I was like, this is how I go. This is how I go back and forth to my house. This is how I do
Mm-hmm.
it. And it's fun. And I got ADHD, so this is fun. So I really believe it was because of my me being embarrassed as a kid and seeing how well I got my father's attention when I was good at sports, like
Mm-hmm.
he was always so proud of me whenever
Yep.
I did anything from wrestling, football, um, just playing around the neighborhood, seeing me compete with people. He just knew, and I knew the feeling of having his like, that's my son. You can't beat him, and that's right, you can't beat me.
Yep. Yep.
So I think it over the years, I think that came from the not wanting to be embarrassed, and I can't stand it at all. And I think that's what the
Yep.
competitiveness is. Uh, uh, I could you see for me, I don't consider you as a competitive person as
I
much.
know that. I know that.
I honestly I don't because I remember
Uh,
like in a Madden,
I get it.
if you're down by like 20 points, you're like, I'm done. I'm like, what do you mean?
Well, I'm just a smart person. I'm not going to sit there and waste my time. You know what I mean? That's
Even as a
that's.
kid, this is terrible. Smart.
Uh,
We got to find a way to come back.
I know Cletus has been my ultimate motivator my whole life. Every day, just always trying to get me to do something. Do something. He's
I
one of a kind.
always try to put him in the best position possible in some kind of athletics. I told him to join the football team. I said, you don't have to go
Drag
there
me
in
there.
summer. Don't come on, just
Yeah.
come. It's not as bad as you think. And if he
Oh,
did
until
that,
I got there and I was running every day, and I look at him like, "Yo, what do you got me here doing right now? I gotta get me out of here."
that's where the competitiveness is. Like you're bad at something, you got to be better. But if he continued that, he would have played on a Division 1 team that won a Long Island championship, which was, a that doesn't happen often
Let me
in
ask you
any
about that.
sport.
Give me stories of that. How was it? Playing on that Longwood team in '04, winning the Long Island championship.
Man, I just remembered as long as everybody did their job, we were in good hands because of the coaching we had. You know, our program, the Longwood football program, is built from a very young age to you when you're in high school. I played with all these players, all these classmates, you want to call them,
Yep.
since I was 6, 7 years old. Sometimes I didn't even get to play with the older kids because they weighed more than me. I had to go down. I just kept going down. And I won championships in PAL. One time they called me, they considered me the monster back. I had monster written on the back of my thing. The coach would say, you're in the middle, you're the linebacker, you're the middle linebacker, you do whatever you want to do. I said, this is great. We go to championship game. He's like, if there's a fumble, Seldin, you pick that ball up and you score. I said, yes, we will. Oh, fuck yeah. We will. If there was a punt, pass, and kick competition, my brother would prep me for it. I'd try to win it all. And I played with those same kids, majority of them from the young age all the way up to high school. And for you guys who don't know, in 11th grade, I didn't go to the summer tryout camp for them. I go into the varsity locker room. The coach goes, hey, you're going to go play with the JV. It's like, okay, okay. Go play with the JV. Do a great job as always. Make it my best. And then the 12th grade comes. He has Kevin Watkins, Kevin Bennett, Brett Wilson. They've been on the team since they've been in 10th grade on the varsity team. And they were there starting cornerbacks for 10th and 11th and 12th. Senior year, I earned the spot to be the starting cornerback that year on the championship team. I don't think we let up any passing touchdowns the entire year. And I was able to take those guys' jobs by outworking them and being a better player. I remember working with Coach Myers throughout that entire off season, from like after football season's over, there's the winter, and then there's the spring, and then there's the summer. And usually at the end of spring, people would come into weight room. I was in the weight room with Coach Myers every single day. On the way home, on Fridays, there's nobody on the bus except the people who go to the Brookhaven National Lab. Like, there's like one person with this this is their eyebrows. It's like one eyebrow like this. And you're like, who are these fucking Russian? They fucking play chess, all right?
See, that's what Eddie, it didn't matter what it was with you. Like you said, I remember when you started boxing and you were getting your ass kicked, it seemed like every day. And I remember one thing you told me, you said, Phil, I'm seeing these guys, they're coming here once or twice a week. Fuck that. I'm going to come here every single day. And obviously that competitiveness in you has brought you to this point right now. 27-1, 23 knockouts. Like I said, I never seen you throw a punch my whole life until you had gloves on. So just to see you come this far and to see where you're at right now, I'm blown away by it all the time. I'm amazed by it, man. And on a 6-fight win streak, tell us about fighting. Who is it? What's his name? Angola. Jose Angola. Jose Angola next Friday, March 15th at Madison Square Garden. Tell us about your opponent.
So if you go check him out, your record, you're like, okay, whatever his record is. But then if you actually go watch him fight, the kid can fight and he can throw punches. And he's there to win the fights. I guess in Ecuador, he doesn't have the correct training for himself to be able to last the process over like 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 4 rounds. But if you watch him, he throws high caliber, quality punches. And, even a guy with that record, you have to make sure you're cautious from. For me, these fights, since I'm not with a promoter at all, that these are audition tapes for me. I got a text today. Dana White's going to be there on Friday night. He owns the UFC Fight Pass, right? So this is a way for me to try to lock myself in and maybe get on and sign a contract or make some kind of deal with them for the UFC Fight Pass and be able to be a regular on there like I was going to be on ESPN back in 2014 before they got bought out by Top Rank, which kind of really screwed over Star Boxing, screwed over everybody.
Listen, the way that you fight, how you're a come forward fighter, your whole story, like I said, started boxing at 22, turned pro at 25. The fact that you aren't a popular fighter to me has always blown my mind. As a boxing fan, I look at it like, why everybody wants to watch a fighter like Cletus, a guy that's going to come forward, throw bombs. He's going to take a beating and he's going to dish it out as well. He's the kind of guy that you love. So I would always get to me like, hey, how come I'm not hearing more about Cletus? And that always boggled my mind and drove me nuts. And I know we could talk about that for hours, but
Yeah,
what was it that you thought? Do you have anything that to think of it? Like
uh,
why
I
didn't you
just
get that?
we didn't never were able to get into position to get back on television. If you're not
Hmm.
on TV, it doesn't matter. If you saw my last fight, it was a fucking war. I fought a guy who was bigger than me, and he
Hmm.
literally tried to take my soul away from me. And
I
I
was
was
shitting
lucky
my
enough to
pants the whole
snatch him.
fight. I was shitting my pants the whole fight. One of the most like nerve-wracking experiences. But it's just like I said, the
If
definition
that
of
fight
you.
was on TV, though, if that fight was on TV, we would
Yep.
become people like, we want to see it again. We're going to offer
Yep.
this guy whatever we want to be, but it wasn't. It wasn't. So
Yep.
that's why I'm so happy to be part of this UFC Fight Pass. Paid over 200 countries. You could go
Hmm.
to your local bar that plays UFC fights, and you can able
Yep.
to watch it. And it shouldn't even be a charge because it's on UFC Fight Pass, which makes it a whole different caliber with something I've needed. Even with the Fight TV thing, when I fought on Triller, not enough people watched it, and it
Yeah.
not even too long ago when they asked me who do I want to sign with, I actually said I wanted to sign with ESPN because ESPN can actually watch me. My grandmother at home can go watch ESPN like nobody
Yep.
else can, right? So I think,
I loved Triller. I thought they put on a great show.
oh
I thought that
man,
that was the ideal kind of place for you. Where it was a lot of entertainment. To me, you always seem like a WWF character. Just
you're
how I known
right.
you my whole life. That's just how you are. So I felt like that was the perfect place for you to be. So that confuses me how you're not back there either. Especially after a knockout win.
Yeah, you would think that after that fight to Barclays, it would have parlayed into something bigger and better, but it just gave me a
100%.
two-year layoff.
100%. 100%. Do you have anybody in mind? Like, if I gave you one fight right now, Cletus, you could sign a contract versus anyone, and the money's not going to change. It's going to be the same big money. We're not going to ask for Floyd Mayweather or Conor McGregor something to get 50 million. You're getting the same paycheck no matter who it is. Do you have a guy right now that you'd love to fight?
I would fight Barbosa. He's 40 years old. He's a guy
Mhm.
that beat a guy named Eves Ulysses,
Yep. Yep.
and he's the guy that I would fight. But if we're going to talk about, I spoke with this today with the Pro Box with on Chris Algieri's
Ooh, how's
platform.
that?
That was it was very interesting. It was very interesting, and I would have to fight Barbosa
Hmm.
in a round robin and never work again. It would be that exciting.
Yep.
And the other character that I've met and he's thinks I'm a little too big for him is Rolly Ramiro Retardo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, so he was the other guy.
Yep.
Everyone else, it's like,
Yep.
I, through the process of boxing, I have learned ever since I became, my own manager, my own promoter, my own everything. I've had to take in all the experiences throughout my this whole career and see what it meant to me. And over the time, it showed what caliber of fighters that I can go in a ring with and do well with, and fighters that I can't go in a ring with and do well with.
Yep.
Pete Brodsky always said, if you can stay away from that 10% of fighters, you will
Hmm.
be fine. For
Yep.
me, it's an Eves Ulysses Olympic style
Hmm.
and a Giovanni Davis, a short explosive style.
Yep.
Those two styles have been the only styles that have given me issues in fights.
Yep.
And that's the whole process of building a fighter. And throughout that journey of when you have a fighter from a zero fight all the way up to a guy that has 20, I actually have 29 fights for the draw. I mean,
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah.
no
Yep. Yep.
decision, the no
Yep. I was
decision,
there for that.
and ESPN.
Hmm.
And that is the whole purpose of trying to build a fighter, finding out what he shouldn't be in the ring with instead of
Yep.
finding out what he should be in the ring with. And you can learn that obviously through sparring and everything, but it's better to find it out in the fights.
I always wanted to see you get in there with. Speaking of Algieri, I always wanted to see you get in there with Ruslan Provoknikov, the guy he
Oh
fought.
man,
I felt like
yeah.
you and him would have been a bloodbath war for the ages.
Remember when
Me
he
as a
fought
friend.
Bradley?
Oh my God, me as a friend to you, I would have been just on the edge of my seat, like basically almost crying the whole time. Like, our night's over. We're not going to get to hang out afterwards. Cletus is going to be in the hospital. We're all going home. whether he
Yeah,
wins or loses. And I hate
absolutely.
those.
Yep.
So he's the
Uh,
guy I would have loved to see. I feel like it would have been huge for boxing, for your name. It would have been like the Ward Gotti kind of aspect where it's like, we got to see this fight again,
yeah, I would come out and try to be a boxer, and I actually would have picked him over fighting my Marcos Maidana, because
Hmm.
in my eyes, Provodnikov he's more of a left hook guy, so he
Yep.
moves everything with his left, and that's what Algieri did, just walk around him.
Yep.
So if I was gonna have him, it would definitely be like more of a guy thing. I'd be a boxer puncher instead of
Yep.
being just a puncher. And I would be able to show my athleticism that I do have. I do have.
Yes. Yeah, it's
I
there.
do it.
Now, I
It's
remember you
there.
even talking about fighting Ruslan to me and just saying like it would have been a war, two guys going to the middle, like they're both ready to die. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
nuts aspect, two gladiators willing to leave it all in the ring.
Yeah.
Um,
Younger Cletus.
looking forward to the future. What's in the mindset? Like, how many more fights are we going to see Cletus Seldin now? He's 37, going to be 38 this year. I know I'm feeling a little bit when I'm getting out of bed. I'm not nearly the same. What am I going to see these next couple of years? Am I going to be still going to fights, or am I looking like, we're right around the corner, about to be done?
You're gonna still be going to fights, man. I still have it in me. I go to the gym every day, so I'm obviously one of the older guys there, but I'm the veteran, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm in better shape than the younger guys.
I know that.
Um, Best fighters in the world, Terrence Crawford. He's same age as me,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
About to be a world champion, Barbosa. He's 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I have been taken back from those injuries. So I don't have that wear and tear as everybody else. And because I've done now 600 hot yoga classes, hot yoga is my thing. I've been able to rehab and recover my entire body.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend has been completely all in on it. She's
Mm-hmm.
on with the diet. I've never had this before. The complete diet plan, the recovery. We have a red light. We got Normatec legs.
Wow.
We have every single thing besides a cryotherapy machine at this house. I am. I'm at the gym. I'm at the media workout today with all the fighters, and Mati, Rashad Mati's like, who has biofreeze on? I'm like, that's icy hot. It's a spray. I'm 37. If I would be like in that old movie with the little league when the kid's the pitcher,
Yes.
and
Yep.
and he goes in, he's and the guy's telling him,
Hot
the
ice.
franchise, yeah, he's a hot ice. You got to figure out
You
It's
heat up
rookie of the year.
the ice packs.
rookie of the year.
Rookie of the
To
year.
heat up the ice pack. You have to, at my age, if I was a
Ice.
pitcher, I would sandpaper my hands. My hands would feel like it was snake skins, and I'd be pitching out there. Like, what are you talking? This is legal. This is my hands. I would have figured out a way to have an advantage in that sense.
I feel like I've been hijacking this whole thing. Drew,
Nah,
what do you
man.
got?
I'm like sitting back watching. This is entertaining. Uh, we're a bunch of Longwood guys here, Cletus. We're
Yeah,
all,
we
we're
got
Oh,
all-
let's go.
yeah.
Yep.
I grew up in Coram.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Think you're
I'm a
better
little
than us.
older. I'm 2000.
I think you're
But
better than us.
Okay, same age as my brother. My brother graduated 2001.
Yep.
yeah.
You,
Um,
you got out
yeah,
before
man.
9/11.
Yeah. Growing up in Longwood was fun, man. I
Oh,
love
heck
growing up in
yeah.
Longwood.
Your time was better than ours.
That's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Gas was I think like $1.25, $1.35. Same thing with pizza was $1.25. Because I know my brother was that age. He always told me like when I got caught, it sucked. It was $3. Like
Yeah,
you
so
can't do anything.
your brother's 40 now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm 41. I just turned 41 in December.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, good stuff. No, yeah, I mean, I the elephant in the room. Like, I know, I'm sure. So I was waiting for Phil to talk about it. Your Zab Judah fight. I'm
Yeah.
sure,
Okay.
like, that's
Yeah.
something I'm sure a lot of people ask you about, and it's like the obvious. I'm gonna, just start out with that. Just talk about that a little bit, like, leading up to it, afterwards, obviously.
Leading up to it, negotiations always, it is what it is, and I always fight for what I believe that I should get. My whole thing was, all right, let's negotiate for this, but if I win, I want that. by knockout. If I win by knockout, I want that. And I remember when I told my dad I was fighting Zab Judah, and my dad's been a huge boxing fan. And he goes, Zab Judah, he's from Brooklyn. You can't beat him. And I was so upset that I was like, okay. And I remember I was walking on the phone talking to him. Okay, yeah, I got you. And I kept that in my head. And when I went for training, it was a southpaw lefty, so I was getting as many rounds as I could. And when I go to the press conference, which is usually about 3 days before the fight, and I see I'm sitting on the right side. No, I'm sitting on the left side. Zab Judah's sitting on the right side, and I look over and I say to myself, this guy signed Zab Judah, and I'm the B guy. I'm pissed. And I'm pissed. And I said, I am not losing that fight. And I remember going to hot yoga sometimes twice a day. And I said, if I can do this every day, and I wear like a jacket and stuff in it, you don't supposed to wear it's like 100+ degrees. And I got pants on, and I'm like, if I can take that, I can take Zab Judah. And I'm so focused and so motivated that I made sure that in the fight I showed no emotions. I didn't take any big chances. I came up with my own game plan with the trainers and everything. And if you ask me how I beat Zab Judah, I beat him based off of strategy, which people don't understand. Every time I would jab, he would, or I throw a right hand, he would kind of stop and he would move over to his left, my right, and I would switch over to southpaw. And I would start working him as a southpaw. So now, instead of this hand being in his lead face, I would turn this way and I would hit him with a punch right away. And he wasn't expecting it ever. And even when I got on the inside I'd go this way, and then he start going out, I go to the southpaw, and I would be able to stay on him. And he never figured it out. And then all of a sudden, I look over, I go, what round is it? They're like 11. I was like, I got to stop him. I want to get my bonus. I go out there and I stop him, get my bonus. Afterwards, I was so pumped and excited. I get out of the ring. I see my dad at ringside. I go, Dad, I beat Zab Judah from Brooklyn. And I gave him a big hug. And
That's
then
awesome.
I walked inside. I saw Zab later on that night at the diner. You guys, Phil was there.
Yep.
And I got his autograph on the gloves.
Jeez.
And went to bed, didn't know anything about it, and then found out he was went to the hospital. And that was that. You know, that was that's the sport of boxing. It's tough.
100%.
It could happen, in practice, and then you go to the fights,
Yep.
And next thing you know, every single time anybody gets in the ring, you're fighting for your life every single time. It's a very dangerous place to be against any caliber of opponent. The last fight I was in, the fight's over. The guy's pissed that they stopped the fight, and he takes his gloves off and he's next to me. And I'm like, please God, don't punch me in the face, because I fucking don't want to deal with this right now.
Man.
So I just go and I put my arm around him, like, oh man, that was tough. Don't blame me. I said, don't blame me. They blame the ref. Don't blame me. And I don't know if he understood me or whatever. And I was like, this guy's the greatest. Yeah. Like, please God, don't fucking punch me for this. God, no reason. Because, that's how the sport is.
I think back to that Zab fight, man. Your cardio is always probably one of your best tools. Like, I'll always say that with people when we're talking about boxing. Like, Cletus, like I said, he didn't box from the age of 4 or 5 years old. He's not that natural fluid boxer, but you put him in the ring versus someone his weight and they're competing for something, he's going to outwork you. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. And like I said, in that Zab fight, I was biting my nails the whole time before the fight. I'll never forget it. Yellow talking shit to me, betting with the Zab Judah's boys. I'm like, I'm still scared. I'm scared when he's fighting the guy we don't know. He's fighting Zab Judah. Like, I'm scared right now. We're up here on Hall of Fame weekend fighting Zab Judah. I didn't sit down the whole time. I remember just the whole time pacing. I'm biting my nails. I'm bugging out.
I actually watched that fight recently, and I could see Borriello standing up. You guys, every time something happened, you guys stood up. And another reason I wanted to win, because they had a belt. when you got to put a belt on the line, I
Mhm.
always am obsessed with winning trophies. You
Oh,
know,
I bet.
I just love winning trophies. I have like a garbage pail of just trophies as a kid. So just like those
Speaking of
trophies,
winning
though.
trophies, I know Drew's got a piggyback question off of this. I remember the first fight I ever went to go watch you fight, and it was actually at the place that I'm going to go see you fight next Friday. This will actually be the third time Cletus is fighting at the theater at Madison Square Garden. The
Oh
first,
yeah.
the first time ever, and I've been at all three. The first time ever was the Golden Gloves final for Cletus Seldin fighting against Eddie Gomez. Tell us about that fight, and then bring up Drew actually has a question about Eddie Gomez as well.
Eddie Gomez, 97-1, coming in the tournament as if he's like the baddest guy in the world. And I had it was the first time in my life I actually had my own. I got a trainer. I got Leon Green. He's going to train me. His whole thing was you beat hard work when hard work doesn't. You beat talent when talent doesn't work hard. And
Yep.
we just outworked everybody. It was my first time in the open class, which means you had more than 10 fights, and from a novice to the open class. And I was so focused. And at the time, which I'm so sad that they took away the Golden Gloves, the hardest tournament in the world. It's a 3-month tournament. Basically, you get your death notice in the mail. They say you got a date. You go there, you fight. You could come home and it could be a weather storm. Your grandmother could pass away. You get the flu. One time I get my thing. I got to go in a fight. How you feel? I feel great. I have 103 fever. I'm fighting Joey Gamache's son. And I'm just like, what? It can't get any worse than this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why they always told me at that gym is even if you don't feel good, you still spar, because sometimes we go to the fights, especially the amateurs, you're not going to feel good and you got to go fight. And that whole process was so rewarding. Thinking about it now, like I was a kid that's white, started sport late from Long Island, which is degraded for the Golden Gloves because they want the city kids to win.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go to these churches in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only white guy. They sell beer, they sell alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
smoke inside the arena, the church,
Yep.
the church.
How old were you?
And I was 20, let's see,
24?
23. I think I was 23, maybe. Yeah, I probably just turned 23 because the Golden Gloves was in February, end of January every year.
Yep.
And my division was always stacked because the weight class, right? So five fights get you to the finals. 5 fights get to the finals. Of course, Gomez gets a bye. Of course he does. But I would sit there and you could rewatch these tapes. I would be fighting a guy. The people from the crowd would come up to the ring and start banging on it. Shoot, like, come on, Shamar Witt, William Witt, come on. And I look over and it's pulling him out. Oh, geez, he's sitting there and he's friends with this guy and he's friends with that guy. And I'll go out there and I'll beat him.
Yep.
And then I go fight all these guys. I got no easy fights. I fought all tough guys, and I fought them all. I fought a guy in the semifinals, which was really my finals. He fought just like me in a phone booth. Not too many people have seen the fight. I know my buddy Brett Mitchell seen it. Fought in a phone booth. And they don't have the video of it because the guy didn't go to Long Island at that time. It was like in the Nassau. And we sat there and just punched and punched. And I knew I took the lead by throwing a little bit better quality punches at the end. And I remember driving in a car on the way home, and I was like, I didn't know at the time, but I definitely had a concussion. I didn't know that. But, Murphy, if you win, he takes you to the diner and you get a meal.
That's all you got to tell Cletus. You tell him there's a free meal involved, he's ready to die.
Woo!
It doesn't matter.
To the diner, you got
anything.
a free meal. I said, okay.
How about even later on in life, Eddie Gomez go full 180, and now Eddie Gomez helps train with you for a fight, right?
If Eddie so I go to a amateur show in Patchogue, and Eddie Gomez is there, and I'm like, fuck, we about to fight. Like, I'm fucking putting my shit together. Like, we're about to pull up and we're about to fight right now. So I go, hey, Eddie, he is the sweetest man I have ever touched and talked to. He was so nice. He wanted to get photos. He's telling me how to pose in the photo. He's like, hey, man, we should link up. I was like, what the fuck?
Is that the first time you saw him since the Golden
I've
Gloves?
never seen him since. I
Yeah.
always thought we were going to see him again and we were going to fight.
Yeah,
We're gonna,
knowing Cletus, you beat Cletus in something. There's no way that the next time you see each other, it's gonna. He's still holding a grudge. I remember I seen him years later. I still had the fight on my DVR at my house. He's already a pro for a couple of years. He comes by to drop off tickets for a fight. I pull up the DVR. I'm like, Cletus, look at this. He's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not watching that. I don't want to see that. Get that off the screen.
I never watched it to today. Still haven't watched it. And Eddie Gomez, after I lost to Yves Ulysses, went on Twitter and said, "Oh, I see Yves Ulysses took took my plays out of my playbook when I fought him in 2000 whatever Golden Gloves." And I remember seeing, I said, and I hated him ever since. From that day until again, I fucking hated him. And then I train you. That's this is gonna be something interesting. I go to New Rochelle. He trains me, and I enjoy it, and I think it's a perfect match. But it's just too far. There's a toll, the convenience is at a zero. And especially the day that I went there, it was raining. It took like maybe an hour and a half to get home. It was just not, we just weren't able to be together. And if we had enough money, I would hire him as my trainer because that's the best story. You know why I would make him my trainer? Because he knows how to beat me.
Yeah, I was
Nobody else
that.
does.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I should have
He's
left
got the playbook.
He knows how to
Johnny,
beat
you
me.
got any questions before we wrap this up? You got any questions for Cletus?
Yeah, Cletus, what up, man?
Right.
So as sort of a youngin here, I'm 24 years old.
Oh, yeah.
I just started working out legit working out like 2 years ago, I would say.
What kind of working out?
Just like lifting weights,
All right.
Just getting in shape. What advice would you have for us young guys, nutrition wise and work ethic and just lifting?
So if I could do it again, I would have downloaded MyFitnessPal right away. If I download MyFitnessPal and you track the foods in there, if you got a little extra funds and you could pay for the scanner, you can scan it, right? Boom, instead of entering it. That gives you the exact amount of calories that you're eating, because I wasn't doing that for many years. And I wish I knew about it earlier, because I was lying to myself, completely lying to myself. Oh, I'll have this snack, and this snack. And then, they're low fat. And then I'll have cranberries, craisins. Them shits are 1,000 calories and they're filled with sugar. I said, why the fuck am I fat? I'm fat because I'm eating the goddamn craisins. They sound fucking ridiculous. I had no idea that by you thinking you're eating healthy, that you're really not. And if you know me from back in the day, I used to just run 10 miles every day. I would just run 10 miles. I ran 50 miles once. I would just run, try to lose all this weight, because nutritionally, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And then I downloaded that app, and it really showed me what my goal was and what I was able to figure out on my own. I don't need it now, but when those times were like, for those, I don't know, couple months, I was like, God damn, I can't eat this. I can't eat that. I can't eat that. And I knew now that was more important to me, not eating all those foods and looking good and feeling good outweighs everything. Because at the end of the day, I live in the gym with all these fighters, 10 high elite fighters that come to my boxing gym every day. We're there for about 2 hours a day. The other 22 hours is all on you. It's all on you. So nutritional wise, I got part of the thing was Hummus Fit. It was a food service. You could pick up your meals, And each meal's basically 500 calories. This is easy. I can have 2 meals a day and I can eat my own breakfast. And that get me 1,500 calories. And at some point that becomes your standard. You won't lose any more weight after that. So for you, say you eat 2,500 calories, which you're probably way more than you think you are until you do that. And all of a sudden you'll hit that 2,500 calories. You're like, why ain't losing no weight? Well, you gotta lower it now. You gotta go to 2,200 calories or 2,000 calories. And then you gotta find that weight that works for you. For me, about 150 pounds works. And then my process of coaching individuals on fitness and bodybuilding or in boxing is based off experience. During the springtime, I would train in Buffalo in a gym in the basement with this Polish former pro bodybuilder. And he showed me techniques about training that they don't discuss anywhere, how to do it correctly. I'll have my girlfriend come to the gym. We'll do our workout, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna do a quick bodybuilding routine. 15 minutes, done, and she's out. 15 minutes, that's it. She can't even lift her arms. Her legs are fucking full of blood, and she just wants to give up. She's like, I'm fucking get a huge boner over there. I'm like, fuck yeah. Just one more.
Johnny actually stole my question. That was actually my question about fitness to you. And I know that we can sit here and talk for hours.
Hours, so like a basic bicep. You do biceps, right? You do biceps, but biceps for you to do it correctly. At the end of the curl, you got to turn your wrist in. You see, when I turn my wrist in, you'll see my bicep explodes out. So when I do a curl, I come like this. Now, if you look at pro bodybuilders when they pose, they get up there and they bring their wrists down because of these techniques that I learned throughout the years, and I recorded to make sure. And this guy was insane. I remember being there, and this woman's been there for 10 years. And she never did the same workout twice with this guy. And the techniques he showed me, it just fills your body. You're looking for a particular to build and expands it. I could work out with 5-pound weights with this guy, and I get a fucking pump that I feel like what the trainer would say to me. He would say, Cletus, if I had a pump like that, I'd blow myself. I go, oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, you're right. And you look, see these fucking guns.
Cletus, it's been an honor to talk to you, man. I can't thank you enough. We're definitely gonna have you back sometime, man. Do another interview. There's so many things I want to talk about.
After the fight, we'll get you back on.
Yeah, dude, I like I said, I could sit here and talk to you for hours. We didn't even touch on the Cowboys or anything like that. There's so many things I want to talk to you about.
They'll be there again. This is the year.
Hopefully.
I'm trying really hard to get on that Jake Paul fight. It's in Arlington, Texas,
motherfucker.
That's one thing.
Maybe you try to get on that undercard, man.
What are you thinking about the Tyson Paul fight?
Best thing for boxing. It's the greatest thing for boxing. Every time he steps in a ring, it's good for boxing. His undercards are fucking terrible. Obviously, what he did with the main event too was terrible. But for him in boxing, I can go take some bullshit guy down the street that's fucking on TikTok and go, oh, you like boxing? I love boxing. Who's your favorite fighter? Oh, I only know one. Well, maybe two. Mike Tyson and fucking Jake Paul, right? They don't even know who Muhammad Ali is these days. But
3 years from now, 3 years from now, you're done with boxing and some internet sensation guy hits you up and offers a fight. Would you fight one of these like TikTok guys or anybody?
Absolutely. And, it's not safe for two fighters in that fight. You don't know what, you see what I did with Zab Judah. Does he have the abilities to take punches like that? Can he throw punches like that? Jake Paul is a former wrestler, so he has that grit and grind in him. He knows how to, be from behind and coming back caliber. But, is he going to go out there and box? Is he going to play the safe thing like I did with Zab and wait till the end? Or, Mike Tyson's going to fucking try to knock your block off. And I don't even think Mike Tyson looked good against the Roy Jones fight. So,
57 years old, man. 57 years old. I think there's a lot of naive people out there that think that, Tyson's actually gonna, knock out Jake Paul. And as much as everybody would love to see it, I just don't see that happening at all.
Yeah, it's tough. He's gonna wake up. Tyson's gonna wake up and train like he. Because I heard Sugar Ray Leonard say this. He's like, I'm making my comeback. I got up. I did my run. I went to the gym. I sparred with guys. I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning and said, "Oh fuck, this isn't for me. I'm fuck out of here. I can't. My fucking asshole hurts. I'm done."
Cletus, thank you so
what do you
much for
think?
coming on, man.
Wait, I want to ask about the Ngannou fight tomorrow.
Okay, yep.
What do you think? What do you think
I
of
think Francis is
Ngannou?
pretty good. I think Francis is pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
He got
I heard
heavy
his
hands.
backstory. His backstory is insane.
I never listened to Rogan's podcast on that one.
Yeah. No, he was like he was trying to get into Europe so long and he couldn't get in, and he finally got into a gym, and it was a jiu-jitsu gym, and he wanted to box. He wanted to be Mike Tyson, but he finally got through somehow, and I think he could throw hands, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting.
I mean, he
Exactly.
looked great versus Fury. Not that many people have looked great versus Fury.
No, I think that should have been a draw.
Got to be awkward with Fury. Whoever's awkward with Fury works for Fury. Doesn't work for Fury because Fury's so fucking awkward. And you put Nagahu against fucking Wilder. Well, I don't know. Wilder might knock him.
Yeah, I think that might be next. I mean, he's fighting Joshua, but I'll see if he fights Wilder next.
Great paydays for them. That fight doesn't do anything for boxing, in my opinion. It doesn't do anything. It just shows that Joshua's a fucking pussy, and he couldn't play in the NFL either. Like, there's no sports over there. What is he supposed to do? I guess boxing, because he's not going to play fucking rugby.
Play cricket or rugby? Is that even a sport?
Right? Yeah, he's to play rugby. Like, if you're not in the NFL, what the fuck you doing with your body?
Cletus, it's been an honor talking to you, dude. I can't thank you enough for coming on. I'm sure I'm going to hound you again. I'm going to see you next Friday. For everybody out there listening, Friday, March 15th, the theater at Madison Square Garden. If you don't have your tickets yet, you're a fool. I know all of Shirley will be there supporting Cletus, the Hebrew Hammer Seldin, man. Can't wait to see you next Friday, bro. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, guys. Take care. Have a good one.